The following may contain language which will be offensive to some people and inappropriate for children. The topics discussed may include drugs, alcohol, or be sexual in nature. This show is intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. I'm serious. It's dirty. Really, really dirty. Still here? Then pour your favorite beverage, sit back, and let's get this fucking show started.
Fantastic Forum, assemble! You're listening to Fantastic Forum, the premier show about comic books and your live weekly conversations about entertainment and geek culture. Welcome to Fantastic Forum. As you can see, we got a full house here with us today, because today we are going to be talking about the Mandalorian Season 2. This is our Mandalorian Season 2 spectacular. So we want to go ahead and welcome all of you that are watching. And for those of you that are here, I just want to go ahead and make sure that I mention everybody real quick. First of all, you got the silent assassin, Jay.
Right.
You got you got our intrepid senior reporter, Oz.
I'm not used to this many people around me.
There it is. There it is. The backbone, Moses Magnum.
Hey.
There it is. We have artist extraordinaire, Dave Ryan. We got the sensational Normie.
Hey.
And we have our resident comic book historian, Jessica, in the house. How's everybody doing? Look, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Yeah. So listen, obviously we only have a couple hours. And we got a lot of people, and I'm sure we'll have more people to come that have opinions on this show. So I just want to go ahead and just put it out here. I want to get just a general take from everyone in regards to what you all thought about Season 2 in general. Not necessarily, not the finale specifically, but Season 2 in general. And I'd like to go ahead and start with Dave Ryan. What did you think of Season 2 in general, Dave?
I thought it was great, amalgamating with all different directors doing different things. I think I really enjoyed watching the director's take. When they spoke to the directors, I don't know if everybody saw that. It was about maybe 45 minutes. It was very revealing, and I really enjoyed it. They were talking about how they got involved in the show and episodes they were working on. It revealed a lot. But, a lot was taken and they made it all work. And I thought all their talents together really made a great, nostalgic yet new stories. I think they took a lot of stuff, like from the Dune with the worms going through the ground, and but they took a lot of stuff from here and there. But I think it really worked. I enjoyed the whole thing.
There you go.
Enough that each episode was enjoyable in itself. So
good stuff. Also, I should also mention, if you do want to get down with Fantastic Forum, share your opinion, you can go ahead and, of course, click the link if you're watching us on YouTube, or basically wherever you're watching us. You can go ahead and join in on the fun through the links, or if you're like listening and you're like, hey, I don't see any links or whatnot, you can go to fantasticforum.live and go ahead and join either chat or join the show through there. So, Normie, listen, we all been geeking out about Mandalorian throughout the entire season. What were your thoughts on Season 2?
Dude, all I'm saying is Disney, take my money. Season 2 was phenomenal. Like, it was, they're short episodes, but I'm like stuck. And I'm like, they're not going to end here, are they? And they would. And I'm like, no, I need more. This is not enough time. Like, it was like an adrenaline rush the whole entire season. And just like when you're about to like, yes, it stops.
Yeah.
And it was perfect timing because now you want more and you couldn't wait till Friday. And I'm like, please let there be a snow day because I teach. Please let there be a snow day so I can stay home and watch Mandalorian. That was how it was every Thursday night. Please snow day. Of course, I never got a snow day on Friday. So I had to like turn off the phone, not touch Twitter, nothing. So season 2, amazing. It's very hard to come to a second season. A lot of times they did it great. Fantastic.
Yeah. Oscor, let's go to you, buddy. What did you think of Mandalorian season 2 in general?
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah.
No. Wait, what? That's okay.
It was good. I mean, even the episodes that were filler were still great episodes on their own, and that's kind of rare.
That's fair. Hey, listen, I would be lying to you if I said that I haven't seen somebody express a similar opinion to what you just did. It's definitely fewer and further between, but there are people that have done. Jessica, number 2.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think overall they did. So Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau did a great job pulling in from all the mediums. So if you were a video game lover and you felt some episodes, to others they may feel some like fillers, but to some others they feel like it's a video game side mission. So to those people, it's not a wasted time. It's not a wasted episode. And if you love the comics, the books, Clone Wars, animated Rebels, I think that the two men really understood what they were doing, and they were to pull everything from old and new trilogy kind of together in all the mediums, so you enjoyed everything. Because I think like Oz, like not everyone's going to enjoy every single episode. As much as others, I don't think they're overall going to hate it.
You're right.
But I think they did a really, really good job tying not just the mythos together, but also all just pulling resources and characters and ideas or theories from all the different mediums. They were also good enough to... They could make spin-offs in other mediums from this. For example, a comic book, a solo series that's a limited run. Or maybe a video game. They were smart enough not to box themselves into a corner. And I think that was what was most intriguing, just story-wise and plot-wise. So I really did. I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I loved first season. You always wonder how they're going to top it. And they definitely did a lot of things even better the second season. And they were smart to do a recap in the beginning, but only the important elements that mattered to that episode. They weren't giving a useless recap. Those really bother me. But they gave you just enough that if you had a friend that came in at the end, like they swooped in Infinity War Endgame, they were still enough to understand what was happening. Which I liked as well. They did a really good job there.
Right. Moses Magnum, what was your overall thought on The Mandalorian season 2, buddy?
Well, dude, I mean, it was just overall well made. Whether it's the recaps like that, the filler episodes, not so filler, they did make them feel like a side quest. And even Emily was like, another quest. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's kind of cool too. Like I was like, that's kind of cool too, because you really don't get that in Star Wars because they're always just confined to movies. Now it's like they give us a little bit to explore a little more, and that's like you look at a game like Mass Effect, and it's like some of those side quests make the game, And this is how that felt. Like it's very they give you in a small amount of time, they give you a lot. And, I never thought they could really execute a Star Wars show when growing up as a kid. Then we got, Clone Wars. You see some of that. Like, okay, this is good. The Rebels. And then it's like, these are all just mini movies. And they're well made. And with the exception of the one they filmed in that park I played with, that Kennethon Park, That was okay. like that one, the Robert Rodriguez one is like, hey, that looks like the set of the Power Rangers. But but even the episode itself was great, except for that bush. I'm like, it looks too familiar. But sometimes that's what happens.
That's what happens.
But just a 30-second like misstep in 2 seasons, like you can't ask for a better result to a Star Wars TV show.
I hear that. Jay, what were your thoughts on season 2, bud?
I thought it was pretty good. Like, I liked it for the most part. Like, I did have some questions. Specifically, I keep forgetting when this is supposed to take place. And so there are certain events that happen where I'm like, is that right?
Timeline-wise, I believe this is it 5 or like 7 years after Return of the Jedi?
5.
5 years. 5.
I don't think that much. Yeah, I would think
5.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So, and I don't remember exactly what the amount of time is, but that puts it. It's closer to Return of the Jedi than it is to The Force Awakens.
Okay.
So I do know that. So.
Yeah. I know there are like a couple of things, like the girl being from Alderaan, which was kind of like, well, when is this taking place? Because I know the Leia series that came out had her going and finding everyone from Alderaan.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you don't really see where that connects, and that in particular, like that was when they were starting the new canon. So this is all supposed to like connect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't sure. Yeah, I don't see the connection there. So it's always weird when you drop details like that. Like the more familiar you are with the property, the more questions you have sometimes.
Do you think, Jay, they might actually take that in season 3 and give us a little bit of that moment to kind of tie everything in?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I would not discount it. Like, I'll be honest with you, Dave Filoni has just been masterful across the board with everything he's been doing. Like, he got me to like Rebels, which I did not think was gonna happen. So it's like I have total faith in him at the same time, but I do have questions.
That's fair.
It's fair.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and ask this question, and this can be for the group. Whoever decides they want to volunteer to answer this first, you can just
This
start
sounds
talking.
Dangerous, Mayor.
No, it's not dangerous at
Whoever
all.
wants to volunteer.
This is definitely a softball question. What were outside of the finale? What do you feel were some of the standout episodes of this season? Like what episode really kind of jumped out at you? Like that's one of my favorite episodes from this season, but not taking the finale into account.
Does it have to be like a favorite? Like, I know.
No. I mean, if it was a standout episode for a reason that you disliked it, you can talk about that too. Sure.
I think the Jedi was kind of a standout episode for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like being like a huge Ahsoka fan.
Mm-hmm.
It was the one where I had the most internal dialogue with myself while I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I read the books like a lot, and so watching the episode, I'm missing a lot of her internal dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get with books that you don't really get with TV or movies, but at the same time, it's like I'm still kind of missing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know it just seemed weird, like to me, the interpretation of Ahsoka, because she has like way more gravitas than I'm used to her having. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. But at the same, well, no, I'm sorry. Let me let you continue. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like normally I think of her as more of a, I'm not sure what the term is for it, but she's definitely not like she's definitely different from how they presented her in this. I feel like normally, like throughout like you got to remember, like once, like a little while ago when season 7 of Clone Wars came out, like I rewatched the whole season, watched Rebels, which had a lot of her, reread the books a couple times, and yeah, she was always kind of light and airy, personality wise. Like, not that she was not that she wasn't doing important things.
Right.
Always had like an air about her, like, like it was just not as heavy as they presented her here.
Interesting.
So was like that one stands out for me because even like in the beginning with like the hit and run tactics, which is not necessarily unlike her, but the way they presented it, where she's like standing, she does like the real hard stand, and then the disappearing, and whereas she was like more of a quick strike in and out, but it would take time to like just have her be there. Awesome cinematically, and like if it wasn't Ahsoka, it would be like super cool. And but like not that it wasn't cool for Ahsoka, but it was just different than what I'm used to for her.
Got you. Any other standout episodes for anyone?
I have a couple.
Okay.
For the bad, I don't remember the title of it, but it's the one where Grogu puts out the call. And it stood out because most of the episode is amazing. See, like Boba Fett just tear through this cheap plastic armor of the troopers and showing, oh, well, okay, so that's why they carry that giant stick. Apparently, it's very effective. And then he gets his armor, and it's this little tiny, like child-sized thing on it. Just like totally ruined it for me.
You don't like the Mandalorian sports bra? Not a fan of that?
I don't know
for comfort.
I don't know if it was the paint or I don't know what it was. If the new armor is the same armor, then it looks better when they fixed it. They fixed something to make it look better.
Don't be hating on Dad Bob, man.
Yeah, exactly. There it is, man.
The really good episode that surprised me a lot was the Bill Burr episode. Because I'm used to seeing him be funny. And he's funny throughout that whole episode. And then you get to that bar scene, and dude really shines in that. And that, like, I couldn't believe that he was able to pull off that much tension and go through the transformation that his character does in like those 5 minutes or however long that scene is.
In that episode too, I got so mad that he's so good in it because he's made a career of making fun of Star Wars. It's like he's got no business being awesome here.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's so funny because the irony of it is amazing. And you're right, because he's been making fun of Star Wars and Star Wars nerds for I don't know how long. And, and the funny thing is that was actually one of the standout episodes for me for this season as well. And I actually was in love with that character from season 1. Where I was just like, oh man, something about the way that he delivers stuff and how like he feels like a unique version of that character in the Star Wars universe. And so and of course he brings a lot of himself into the role. By no means is it like, oh, well, I don't see you. It's not like, where did Bill Burr disappeared into this agent like that? I don't feel that. But at the same time, he fits. And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Like, I want to see more of that character somewhere. Not a spinoff, but somewhere. Yeah. Cool. So anybody else have any other standouts that they want to mention before we go further in?
Normie,
Jessica.
go.
Nope.
Oh, no,
Jessica,
you
you
go.
first.
Oh, no. Oh, goodness. Okay. I was like, I'm about to. I don't know, to follow up to something that Oz had said. So I think everyone loves the Boba Fett episode for multiple reasons. It's like when Captain Holt yells out vindication in one episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. A lot of Boba Fett fans they feeling very vindicated. I think for me, it was interesting because Grogu is roughly the same age, born around the same year as Anakin. So our understanding is that he looks like a baby, like a little child infant. He's got infant mannerisms. However, just because a creature develops slowly or doesn't develop speech first also doesn't mean that it is mentally still a child or an infant. And because he never really speaks, you don't really know. Because the way he sits on the Seeing Stone without anyone really teaching him, or he looks like a much older character, like an older, farther along in his line in development from the way he sits in his little meditation pose. Yeah. And of course, giving the idea of how strong the Force actually is, you're used to seeing certain sci-fi where there is some sort of barrier. Everyone, and then one person just happens to break through and get to the other side. I don't know. There's many examples, but even Mando in Beskar couldn't get through, which shows kind of how much potential and how much Force little Grogu actually knows. But his mannerisms at that time does not look like one of a child, of like a younger, juvenile, adolescent, toddler. So for a while, I thought afterwards, one, this is a great setup to his powers, but also because he had to hide it for so long, you don't really actually know how talented and how skilled he is in that. But also too, I don't quite actually know mentally how old he is, because just because you have so I felt that really stuck out to me because of the way I guess he was sitting and concentrating on the Seeing Stone. It was that was not what I expected him to look, the pose that he was in. So at the time, I don't really know. Also, that led me to believe we've heard other Yoda species speak. So I'm like, I wonder if Grogu's gonna sound like them as well, or is he gonna, or he picks up the speech pattern of Mando. So I just don't know how that works. So I really enjoyed that overall episode and also that moment as well.
Good now, stuff. If he is like more developed than like a toddler, doesn't that kind of make him a monster for like?
Yeah, and I was actually gonna say the spider episode that some people may have issues with. I think that showed me that he is the apex predator. That dude will eat anything. I mean,
those eggs were not fertilized. So it's not like you.
Oh, you crapped out a little bit, Oz. You said those eggs aren't technically alive. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, well, I mean they're not fertilized, so it's like making an omelet.
Yeah. But then he ate those, but he ate the spiders, and I was like venom, and I was freaking out. So he'll eat. I bet Dagobah was relieved when Yoda passed because their apex predator was no longer alive on that planet, and they were just like, "Thank goodness, this green one's gone."
The way
everything.
Careful, Marvel might minimize Grogu.
Wait, the way.
Say it again, Dave.
I said Marvel may venomize Grogu.
Venomize him. I love it. What were you gonna say, Oz?
The way that kid was eating this whole season, I expected the season finale to be him going into like a cocoon or something and emerging as in his adult form. That dude was storing energy for something, man.
I mean, he could be a teenager or a pre-teenager. You know, they tend to eat a lot, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Either that or Din Djarin doesn't feed that kid.
That too, or not good enough food. You know, McDonald's versus home cooked meal. McDonald's tends to win, so I guess these little eggs, these little spiders are more important. It's like the junk food.
McDonald's versus somebody's babies.
That's weird, but anyways.
Normie, go ahead. I know you're going to speak on standout episodes for you.
One of the standout episodes I think it was the second one in the season. I can't remember the name of the title either, but Horatio Sands plays that really like dry sense of humor character. I can't remember his name, but I just love that whole ending of this season. Let me set it up a little bit where they have 10 minutes to get in and get out. And I just loved that feeling because it was the whole tongue-in-cheek video gamer kind of moment where you have it said 10 minutes, but there's no timer showing you. And I love how, in those in those 15 minutes or what have you, he's like, hasn't it been 10 minutes yet? Hasn't it been 10 minutes yet? And it's funny because as I'm watching this, I'm like, man, those are a long 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, this is like when I play like something on Tomb Raider or something, and I have to get out in 10 minutes, but there's really no timer. And just as I'm thinking this, he's like, hasn't it been like 10 minutes yet already? I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just thinking that. So
get out of my head.
Yes. And it was funny because and I kept like echoing through that. And it's like 2 seconds before they said it once again in the episode. And I thought that was just so funny. And I don't know if he just wrote that just for me or what, but I just thought that was hysterical. Anyways. And then my one spot where I'm like, I'm not so sure about this. It felt a little maybe rushed. It felt like they took down oh my gosh, Giancarlo's character. Thank you, Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Like it felt like they took him down too fast, right? At least to me. And it felt so anticlimactic. Like I was like about to throw up when he's fighting these super bots or whatever, although the music was fantastic at those moments. But it almost felt like Giancarlo's moment to shine and this big fight scene was anticlimactic. So that's probably the one thing that I thought could have been a little more action-packed, I guess.
Gotcha.
So that would be my one negative thing.
Jay, do we have anything? Just want to check in with chat real quick. Anything that we need to?
Yeah. So we have Tiger Claw in chat says, "What's up, Fantastic Forum? With season 2, they upped the ante in terms of the production. We have some really cool action scenes in this season. Where do they go from here?"
Hi, TC.
I mean, yeah, that actually, kind of speaks to what Norm was just talking about with the like action scenes or whatnot. Even though, I like there was a lot of great action throughout the season. As far as where they go from here, I mean, I at this point, it's hard for me, I know, to doubt these folks. Like I feel very, very comfortable in the hands of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Take that how you want to,
I agree. I mean, they gave us an outstanding season 2. It feels like we are kind of floating to uncharted territory now that they took out like a major character that everybody fell in love with. So it's almost like a little scary as to where they're going to go with this. If, Grogu was like, sure, the Mandalorian is amazing, but here comes a little Yoda lookalike little character that everybody loves, and now he's gone. I'm glad they didn't kill him, but he's gone, So I was about to throw up. I thought that whole entire scene, they're going to kill him. They're going to kill him. I can't do this. I'm a mom. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. That's all I kept thinking about. And when they didn't, I'm like, oh my God, they didn't kill him. Thank God.
Wow, did you really think that he might die?
I thought,
Wow.
I got a few friends who were the same way. Like, oh my God, I didn't like that. It was terrible.
And don't forget, eventually, Kylo Ren wrecks that whole school.
I have a theory on that, but we think theory.
I think season 3 is going to be taking back Mandalore and a buddy cop type show with Bo-Katan and Din Djarin.
She's got to win back that dark saber, right? So I am curious as to how they're going to do this.
Go ahead, Jay.
In chat, Tiger Claw says, "After watching season 2, I learned that Beskar is like the Star Wars equivalent of adamantium. Lightsabers can't cut through it. However, the dark saber almost can because it's more intense."
Okay. I mean, I guess that's a fair analogy, Tiger Claw. Yeah, we could go with that.
I mean, we saw how powerful it was, right? As it cuts through the ship.
Yeah. So let's talk about the actual finale. Obviously there was a lot of speculation in regards to, I think many people felt as though Grogu was going to end up in the hands of a Jedi, and who that Jedi was going to be. There was a lot of different speculation, a lot of names that were tossed out there. I know personally, Yeah, there were a lot of people thinking like, okay, yeah, it's gonna end up being Ahsoka, and that's just gonna be the end of things. I know people were tossing out Mace Windu out
That's who I
there.
tossed out. Yep.
Yeah, and so it's like there were a lot of, well, okay, I guess you can't say a lot, but there were definitely different people that it could have been. And this is a spoiler show. If you didn't know this already, but if you don't, hey, we're spoiling
Now
things.
you know.
Yeah. Obviously it ended up being Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
That moment. What? Why
What?
did you spoil this for me?
Oh my god!
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. That didn't Luke
I'll tell you
Skywalker.
something. Up until the last second, I wanted it to be Bosk.
Yeah, hey, there you look. And I think that there was a lot of people that were hoping for different things to happen. So I'm just like, I wanted to hear from you all. Like, did you all like? Were you hoping for someone different? Were you satisfied with who we did get? Like, what? How do y'all feel about it?
And then he just opens the door and he has the gun. He goes, "Who's the Bosk?"
Who's the boss? I love it.
That's what made me happy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, I think sure I wanted Mace Windu, but Luke showing up was just whoa, and the whole point of how they're all freaking out, how they're gonna they had Din Djarin had trouble killing one of these massive ridiculous robots. How are they going to do all of these others?
Yeah.
And to just see, I felt like we really grasped Luke's power with the Force in those 5 minutes. It just kind of showed you, like, it just quieted. We could hear pin drops in my house. We were like this. Like nobody said anything. And I think that was the moment they were going for, because they certainly captured it from us. And I think it was just such a great visual to show us what Luke is capable of. It's like we didn't get, at least I didn't get that feel in episode 4, 5, and 6. But here I got it. Like my brain's like, whoa, I get it. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody else could have done it justice. We would have been like, hey, it was Miss Windu, or whomever. But Luke, to me, was the perfect pick for this moment. And it kind of places you the timeline that they want to show you also.
Right. What'd you think, Dave? Like, what was your thoughts when you finally see the reveal?
Well, when the ship was flying in, I immediately said to my wife, "That's Luke Skywalker." And she goes, "No, I think it's Rosario Dawson." And I was like, "No." And then when he got off the black cape and he showed his one hand,
yes,
before he pulls the saber out, it's like he's black. That's Luke. And he whipped out the lightsaber, and I was like, "It's his green lightsaber." I thought it was really good. I thought he was CGI'd at the end. It looks CGI.
Yeah.
He was.
It's not.
It was his voice, but he was CGI'd.
No, it's not CGI.
No?
No, the actor who played him is Max Lloyd Jones.
Oh.
They didn't digitally put his face on him?
I thought they
looked the guy up. Look this guy. He was in War of the Planet of the Apes. He looks just like him.
The face is technically CGI. You could say deep fake, but there was an actual guy standing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
You look him up. He looks a lot like him. So.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I would have to look him up because I don't know what he looks like. So wow.
I was hoping for, it was great seeing the other IG. Was it IG-11?
Yes, that was nice to see the IG.
It was good to see that. I was personally hoping for some other bounty hunters like Dengar or I don't know if Bosk is alive still at that point. But Jay, you know that or not? In the book, he's dead already, Bosk?
I'm not sure. I can check.
Yeah.
Look, I'm sure Book of Boba will let us know.
I did hear recently.
Or one of those guys.
They're trying not to stick too much to like the lore of everything, because I guess there was, I have not read the books personally, so I don't know, but I guess there was I don't know how to explain it. Like the timelines don't even match up with
Mhm.
each other. So I think
Okay.
what I heard is that they're trying not to necessarily stick to the lore of the books because a lot of stuff overlap or don't quite make sense. So it might be in one spot, but we might not see it here because they're trying to kind of avoid that. If I read that correctly.
I think they'll show up in Book of Fett.
Mhm.
Other bounty hunters like that. I think we're going
Yeah.
to get our fill with that. In fact, when he walked down, when they walked down to take over that area where Jabba used to be, I thought he was going to open the floor up because that's when they dropped in, right?
Mhm.
That's where, yeah, I thought he was going.
Yeah.
They're going to drop in, but when the
Yeah.
not dropping there.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna try it too, but I'm like, the dude has a jetpack, so
Yeah, right.
like that. You know, I don't know. I'd feel like Boo Boo the Fool if I got dropped into a pit and I was wearing a jetpack and I couldn't get out.
He'd be able to get out.
I'm the
I
worst.
also thought that Thrawn was going to be possibly in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
It seems like they might be saving Thrawn for Ahsoka, I guess, huh?
yeah,
Forward to seeing him in live action.
yeah. I was hoping he was going to be in this thing. I did a Connecticut show and I sat next to Timothy Zahn, and he had all his books there. And my brother-in-law, who fought in Afghanistan and Iraq, and my wife would send him the books over there. He's a huge Star Wars, a huge Timothy Zahn fan.
Mm-hmm.
So I got him the 25th anniversary of one of the books and signed it. And I said, "You never guess who I'm sitting next to." And I took a video of him. He goes, "Hey, Carlos." He's like, "Holy shit!"
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
You never know who you're going to be sitting next to at a con.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
It's really interesting going back to the finale.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because I will say that, and this kind of touches on what you were saying, Normie, in the sense that, obviously through episodes, 4 through 6, you have Luke Skywalker like learning to become a Jedi, and technically never finishing his training, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so in this, we see definitely a much more seasoned Luke Skywalker. And, it was interesting the way that they decided to portray Luke and him fighting through all of those droids, because, obviously you have the parallels between him and the scene that we saw in Rogue One with Vader, which, the way they're shot, definitely they kind of mirror each other a little bit. But also too, it's like you can tell, like, okay, like Luke Skywalker, like he is not
Darth Vader.
Well, he's not, but not only, but he's not that he's not Darth Vader, but he's somewhere in between though. He's not a Jedi all the way either. Like this guy is like using some really aggressive kind of force powers as well. And it was interesting because like my thought process was like it when I saw, like, say for instance, when I saw episode 10, and I'm like, I'm getting that version of Luke Skywalker. It was hard for me to connect the dots from the Luke that I had seen in Jedi to there. But watching the Mandalorian and seeing that Luke Skywalker, it's a little bit easier for me to kind of be like, oh, you know what? This guy could end up like the dude that I saw in like episode 8. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because, it's like this guy, like he's out here, like he's not a Jedi in the traditional sense, and he's doing the best he can, but like he has his own issues too that he kind of has to work through, and it's like you could kind of see that in the fighting style, at least to me. And so I was just like, oh wow, that's really interesting. But it was cool to see Luke Skywalker like let loose, because we had not really gotten that opportunity before now.
I think really kind of like the moment Yoda lifted the X-Wing in the original. You got a sense of how powerful he is, but we never got to see Yoda at his peak, which is what made the prequels interesting, because when he fought, or the other films, when you fought Palpatine and he fought Dooku, right? I remember everyone freaks out because he's hopping around like a frog with his little tiny little lightsaber. So then, I mean, he still didn't win, but for other reasons, right? It was not his fault. But you got to see a sense of what Yoda is like a little closer to his peak. He's still older. Right. Throughout Star Wars Legends, when you read, play the video games, you read the books, everything that a lot of people don't say is canon now, the stories of Mara Jade, you never got to visually see it in live action, but you knew what Luke can be at his peak. Absolutely. And this was, like Normie said, we were able to see what he was like there or near the top. So kind of like Boba Fett fans, we were vindicated within one season of Mandalorian, both what Boba Fett is like and what Luke is like, closer to their peak of their fighting capabilities or using the Force. I think it also showed, because the show is called Mandalorian, and you like Mando, he's pretty badass, he knows what he's doing. You forget how much more powerful a Jedi actually is. Right. Because Moff Gideon was very confident that his Dark Troopers and Mando could barely handle one. All the rest of the crew, all the women are amazing. They're gonna do fine. It's still gonna be tough. But the actor did such a great job when his face turned. Yeah. Right when Bo-Katan was like, "It's a Jedi," and then you can see that one Jedi is equal to more than all of them combined. Right. And it really showed, even not using, he used the Force, but it wasn't as much as he could, maybe for budget reasons. But you really showed that one Jedi is equal to so many of them. Yeah. I did say, Dave we were talking about the stand-in and the deep fake Oz and everything. One of the first things I looked up afterwards was episode budget, because you wanted to know why he looked the way he was. It was almost as if it was a business transaction, but I felt maybe reading too much into it. He didn't want to say his last name, because I'm sure there are some people in the room that's like, ooh, a Skywalker. So all they asked is, "Are you a Jedi?" And he said yes. I will have to say, though, I was very excited to see Luke. It was a silent joy of raising arms. I actually didn't scream until I saw R2-D2. So I don't know what that says about me, but it wasn't an audible waking neighbor scream until I saw R2-D2. But I liked, as you guys were talking about the reveal of Luke, you saw the hand, then you saw the saber, then you saw, and then so as it was done, little progression in the music and the parallel, because I honestly didn't see R2-D2 coming. I rewatched it to see if I saw the little astromech's head, the dome in the X-Wing. They made it fuzzy for a reason, right? All this technology, but your security is still in black and white. But however, I'm also imagining little R2-D2 just rolling through, beep booping through all this carnage his master just went through, and I was like, "Oh, this little dude he's seen some shit."
Jessica, I'm not gonna say. Well, I guess I'm admitted it here, but when R2 did roll through, a little tear may have leaked out of an eyeball. So
Yeah, it's
I hear you.
I know what went through my head. I know in the pre-production text that Larry, Oz, and Joe, you guys read, it's like, what, I could just die now. Nothing's ever going to be this cool, But really what went through my head was Emily saying, "Can you just sit down?" I was standing on the couch. She's like, "Sit down," But it's like, no shoes on the couch. But I didn't even really think Grogu would end up with a Jedi myself. I think they're going to milk this for 5 years, this search for a Jedi, and then sure enough, they did this. And it's just another example of Mandalorian exceeding expectations for me, because, I'm always doom and gloom, Larry. It's still doom and gloom. I think third season is going to get canceled because of COVID. They're just, nope. Mando caught it. He was pre-existing condition. He's done. You know?
I'm like, no, the child is
Yeah,
protecting
you
him.
know, it's just
He
you
gave
know,
him
we
the
saw
free
like
shot.
even Tom Cruise is scared of it because you know all of a sudden Scientology doesn't heal everything. But you know, I think I'm afraid for Mandalorian season 3. Like we might not get.
I agree with Mo. Yeah, I was expecting, you know, by season 7 or 8, we have a little Grogu in his little Mando armor that Boba Fett wore in that season 2. His little helmet holding the Darksaber as the second Mandalorian Jedi.
Dad, I'm gonna be you for Halloween this year.
And there was a little part of me at the end of the finale. I wanted Patrick Stewart to show up and say what he was eating. I don't know.
That's
I'll be having
hilarious.
Grogu with some monsters.
And frog legs.
The frog legs. Oh my gosh. What did you guys think of oh my gosh, Mando showing his face? Yay or nay?
You know, I will say, I personally feel like the moments where he chose to do it felt weighty enough that it kind of excuses it. And it also, like, I feel like the first time he did it in season 2, it's like, okay, like he's trying to get the job done. And it kind of shows us as an audience how far he's willing to go to protect this kid. You know, and then at the end, it felt more like evolution to me. Like, you know, like him kind of just like he's still not there. He's not like, oh, I can just take it off when I want to. But it's like it feels like the beginning of an evolution. And for me, like I'm like, hey, that was all right with me.
He's showing Grogu, but he's not showing the people behind him.
Right.
So
Right.
Fennec and all of them, they don't see it. They don't
Mhm.
see
Luke
him.
saw it.
But Luke,
But I mean, Luke, yeah, and then R2 doesn't freaking count. So then,
I saw nothing. I saw nothing.
right. So
Also,
I think it has purpose, like you were saying. It has purpose.
Well,
to
I'm
it.
looking each and every one of you in the eye, and you tell me the truth. Who did not tear up? I see you, Dave. Who did not tear up in that moment when here he is? Din is like his eyes are all watery. That was really emotional.
No,
I started tearing up at the X-wing. Like and the whole thing was just one constant like flow.
The boogers are all coming out.
Yeah, like the little anime booger bubble.
I'll tell you where they tripped up is really that episode, the Bill Burr episode. I don't think he should have taken off his helmet at that point, because that actually, to me, felt like it took away the impact and the meaning behind when he does it at the end. I think it would have been a lot more like, man, dude has not done it at all until this point. And so, especially to have it be like the episode just before, if it was earlier in the season, I would have, had enough time to okay, he's still Mando, and it still would have had that impact. But I think so close in episodes where he does that, it lost a little bit for me. Like, this is not the way.
Well, it is, Pedro Pascal, I mentioned this before, it's kind of my eye candy. So to see him a couple of times is okay by me. I'm just saying. Sorry, Jay.
She beat you to your point, Jay.
I just shrank to see the comments, and someone did comment, I know how much Normie likes Pascal. So I just shrank the window and I saw it, and then you came right back up. So
Hilarious. What were you gonna say, Jay?
I think they're building up to like him not wearing the helmet anymore.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was like it was interesting, the timing, because it's he takes off his helmet to rescue the child. But that happens after he meets the other Mandalorians,
Right.
who are constantly taking off their helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Just by him like being cool with them at the end, and then being willing to take off his helmet to like do a job. Like, I think, they are really trying to get it so that it feels like development in order to push him to not wearing the helmet as much.
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal wants a bigger paycheck.
Real
Well,
quick
you know.
in chat,
Mm-hmm.
Black Compact says, "Can we take a moment to appreciate how badass Ming Na Wen has been and will probably be in Book of Fett?"
Absolutely.
Dude, she's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, she's near her 60s too.
Listen,
Definitely.
you would,
Years, yeah.
I want to look that good.
it's
One
insane.
of the best things of that Street Fighter movie was Ming Na Wen.
She was amazing as Chun-Li.
She never aged from that film. It made her immortal.
I agree. She looks exactly the same. I don't know what deal she made, but
Yeah.
She looks a little younger in Mandalorian than she does in Street Fighter.
Also in chat, Emily's calling me a liar.
Oh, why is she calling you a liar, Mo? What? You're not being real with us about how much you were crying?
Because he's talking.
No, because of the couch thing. She didn't tell me to get off the couch. Like, I keep telling her, like, look, it's funnier if I just say it like this. Trust me.
So I know, Oz, you touched on it already a little bit in regards to where you think things are going for season 3 of The Mandalorian. You know, obviously, you know, Grogu's story has kind of resolved itself. What do the rest of you all feel is going to be the next like big storyline for The Mandalorian? Where it's going to go?
Real quick, just because you mentioned me first. I don't think Grogu's story is done. I think at some point, whether it's season 3 or 4, there's going to be a time jump, and he's going to come back and be able to communicate with Din Djarin, and not be so babyish. I really think he's going to form a cocoon and come out in his adult form.
Do you think he's going to smack him around and say, "Why didn't you understand my name the first time I told you? Why call me the kid? Stop calling me the kid."
Grogu's petty like that. He's petty.
He could. His homeboy don't wear that helmet much anymore, so yeah.
What if they reboot like the Force Unleashed games with Grogu in it?
Ooh.
I mean, listen, I think you can't do that now because you have a whole set of movies that like make that not happen, right? Like, I'm not saying you like them. I'm just saying they are there, though, right? You can't, or I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
He used to have the Secret Apprentice. That still works.
Luke's Secret Apprentice?
Yeah.
No, Force Unleashed isn't that Anakin's?
It's Anakin's, but they could do
Vader's. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Vader's.
No, but they could do it's the new Force.
You're saying
Unleashed.
Grogu? You're saying Grogu would be Vader's Secret Apprentice?
No, it will be Luke's Secret Apprentice. Like that story.
Yeah, that's my mistake. I heard Force Unleashed and I was like, wait, that's Vader's. Like
Right.
Yeah, I was saying like a reboot of that franchise, but with that.
Yeah, I don't think
Luke has a track record with apprentices going bad. I mean, we know that. And he does. Everybody trains, you know.
Yep.
Jumps into the dark side.
I mean, so did Obi, right?
Yeah.
It's
Wait,
a
no,
trend.
Obi had one guy.
It's a trend.
The only
Luke's
guy.
had like.
I have the higher ground, Anakin. You're the chosen one.
What were you gonna say, Jay?
Oh, I was going to say Lucas had a bunch of apprentices that didn't go dark side, but I forgot. That's not canon anymore.
Listen, but they don't amount to nothing.
That hurts.
Barely Jedi, though.
Not you, not
Barely
you.
Jedi. Yeah. But I do agree with you, Oz, in the sense that I do think like the next big storyline will probably be, or at least the natural progression feels like them trying to restore Mandalore. And, you know, of course, the tension that's been created and maybe trying to unify all these Mandalorian tribes and whatnot, which I would definitely find interesting, especially considering that, you know, like Mando has no like desire to necessarily be a part, or at least play a key role in that. But it seems like he has to be at the center of it since he has the Darksaber.
Actor? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, the show. And the show, right. You know, it's like, look, I guess they could tell the story of a Mandalorian that is, you know, just got slaughtered in those tunnels in season 1, but that'd be a short show. And
Yeah, but that's done.
You know? It's like, What about like Dave? Is there where would you want to see the show go in season 3?
That was something that I thought was kind of odd. All those Mandalorians got killed very easily by who exactly? Who slaughtered them so easily? Stormtroopers? But then the Stormtroopers get annihilated by them. So who the heck were the Stormtroopers? Who killed all those Mandalorians so easily?
Like the ones in the tunnels in season 1 don't get. They get. Oh, I guess it was Stormtroopers, wasn't it? Huh?
Yeah, because then they go after the armorer and she like just wrecks them.
Right.
I found that very odd that they all got killed so easily.
That's why it happens off screen, I guess. I don't know.
Or maybe they were terrible and didn't have enough money to get better armor. I have no idea.
It might have been those Death Troopers, but they didn't show you the Death Troopers, you know?
Could be. Yeah.
Don't be backtracking like that. You're not Marvel Comics.
So let me, if it's okay.
Look, don't tell Larry that. Like he that's blasphemy to Larry.
Don't forget, Din Djarin almost died like 3 times, but Grogu saved his ass.
Yeah.
True. Look, he almost got killed by an animal.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, but listen, we all love a good retcon as long as it's done masterfully. What were you going to say, Normie?
Well, I was going to say, do you have any theories as to, if it were up to you, what do you think Grogu's fate is, right? Because we know later that Kylo Ren kills all these other, Jedis in training and with Luke's little army there, whatever you want to call it, So what do you think? What would be your theory?
Wait, hold on, because Normie, you mentioned you had a theory earlier.
I do.
So I'd like to hear your theory as a Star Wars expert.
Well, I'm not an expert. I just love the franchise, but I'm not an expert. If I was an expert, I'd be like Jay and reading all those books. But I mean, we do hear that Kylo Ren killed half and kept the other, brought another group with him, right?
They're little tiny Knights of Ren.
So, yeah, that's what I said. I mean, we can have a little Knight of Ren. I mean, we can put little ears on him, right? I don't know, but could that be a possibility? We're looking at 20 years later. I mean, the guy's got to grow a little bit, right? I mean, I don't reach the 5-foot mark, but I'm not going anywhere. But maybe, I don't know, they give him platforms, and he could be Knight of Ren.
He can use the Force to grow.
He has bionic legs.
But like any theories, do you think he survived this Kylo Ren hurt?
I really think Grogu's going to get the Darksaber. That's why it's so much smaller than the regular lightsaber.
For Grogu.
It is. I mean, look at it compared to the lightsaber. It's tiny.
There's also a chance that Grogu had so much influence from Mando that he excuses himself from the Jedi Order.
I can see that. And especially considering like how he was like vibing with Ahsoka. It's like,
Yeah, and even Ahsoka herself as an older, I've seen some shit type of Jedi / some. And then we know that if it's not canon, but for those who care, like Grey Jedis, we know that there was the Darksaber and everything with the Mandalorian and the Jedi Civil War. You also know that there was compromise. They had a peace, they had truce, they had people that crossed over, a character. So with him there, he's been influenced by so much. And then when Ashoka says that his mind went dark because he went into hiding, he's now got so much influence. I mean, obviously you could backtrack it, I guess. But an easy way to explain with like the newer trilogy is just he's not a Jedi then. Kylo's really out to take out people that are strong with the Force or Jedi's a possible threat. And this dude could just be like chilling on the planet somewhere, doing his stuff, and isn't really a threat, just kind of a neutral, almost like what Switzerland was trying to be during World War II, right? Like a claim to neutral party. So that could be something. And I agree with Oz. I was thinking, what I did like about is that there's no really throwaway lines. So when he says, I'll see you again with no exchange of phone numbers, right, or email addresses, I do think that they will see each other again. It could be a time jump because we can't see a Grogu that doesn't speak forever, right? And also kind of like Captain Marvel at the end of Endgame, he could just sweep in at the end of a Mandalore planet issue, and again saves them for whatever reason. Because they will see each other again, is the implication. We just don't know when or how or the reasons why. But he could always, come back in that specific manner.
Yeah, at some point when Din Djarin isn't wearing his helmet all the time, they're gonna realize that it was the helmet that was preventing the communication, like Magneto, how he puts it on.
Did you say something, Giles?
But after he stops wearing it all the time, Grogu's gonna be like, "Hey, homie, what's up?"
I know you.
What do you all think is the chances of seeing Grogu pop up in some of these other series, or in some other medium? Like, is there any chance that we see Grogu in something animated or pop up in a video game or something like that? What do you all think of that?
You poo-pooed my Force Unleashed idea.
Okay, you're all right, Moses.
Actually,
Force Unleashed 3.
Actually, agreeing, kind of like reinforcing Mo's weird thing that he said earlier. There is discussion of a Luke Skywalker show, and if it takes place right after this, if it ends up that last episode was like a backdoor pilot,
right?
Luke Skywalker TV show, then yeah, we might see the new apprentice.
Because one thing,
like a talk show.
The Luke Skywalker show, and then today, this is what happened.
Hilarious.
It'll be like Jimmy Fallon, but funny.
I like Jimmy Fallon. Don't crunch my Jimmy Fallon.
I did too. Look, I could do a whole show on Jimmy Fallon. The man can make ice cream. I'll tell you that. That Ben and Jerry's tonight, though, amazing.
I'm not tried that yet.
Hidden talent.
Oh, dude, gotta try it, man.
So, because I know one thing that we never, or at least, like, what I thought at some point we might get, but we didn't really, is like answers into regards to like how, like, where did he come from? Like, how did he escape the purge?
Yeah, that was. I don't know if you've seen that meme, but it has like the little youngling, and it's like Master Scott, and then you see Anakin getting ready, and it says, "Meanwhile, Grogu's in the bathroom washing his hands," and that's how like he's been escaping. I think it's been interesting to see kind of who's. I think people who maybe saw Mace, like Normie and many people want to see Mace Windu where. I think the question is also who took him out of Coruscant, which is such a major story. It would be interesting if it, was Yoda himself. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting to kind of see where he's been. I also want to say I kept thinking when they said unite him with his own kind, I thought it was species-wise. And then toward the late, I was like, "Oh, they meant Jedi." I didn't think of because I was like, "What is this?" But I don't know why. I guess because it's such shrouded in mystery, which is the whole point of Yoda's species. We only seen a handful of them.
Right.
That's what I was, thinking. And I love the idea that Yoda trained Luke, and then now Luke trains the same species.
It's funny.
Yeah.
We've only seen their species handful, like the three, only 3 of them.
Oh, there's
actually like about that was good.
There it is. Yeah.
Only 3 of them. There's a small handful of them in like Star Wars Legends, especially in the comics and the books, but they don't.
Now
Yeah,
I
Mike
think this is a wild theory.
No, go ahead, Mo.
This is a wild theory. I think Tag and Bink saved them.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Do you remember that comic? The Tag and Bink are dead?
Right.
Yeah, like I think they saved them.
That's funny.
It'd be hilarious.
Man, how crazy would that be if they actually did do that, though? That would be like, and that was one thing that happened this season more so than last. Is like a lot of fan service, just like random little things here and there or whatever. Like that would be like some ultimate fan service type stuff though, right there.
I thought it was beautifully done. You know what I mean? You don't have to be an avid like Star Wars person to enjoy this series, but I do like the little Easter eggs that they have been placing for those who really follow all of it. And you know, even for someone like myself that doesn't read the books, you know, whatever they may have put for you, Jessica or Jay, you're like, whoa, I didn't get it, but I enjoyed the other stuff, you know? So I think that takes craft. You know, you have to have a mind to incorporate little things like that for a specific audience, but the non-specific people like me that missed it, you know, it didn't take away from the story. That's what's so special about this.
The Great Dragon Pearl is like a key example of that, where I was like, dude, like I'm sitting here and I watched that joint and I was like, oh, it took me right back to my time playing Knights of the Old Republic, and I was just like, I did that side quest to get that pearl, and I'm like, I was so ready. I was just like, oh, I can't. Like, it's one of these things. I was like, I know for me, I'm like, I never in a million years would have guessed that at some point I would see something like that in live action.
You do the same way too, right? With the explosions on the belly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like you lead that thing out into a trap and blow it up from the bottom, because that's the only weak spot on a crate trap. Everybody that played Knights of the Old Republic should know that. No.
So not to like
it would
be
have been hilarious if
morbid
they messed it up
or anything, but I just wanted to like say, you know, it's kind of sad during the season that we lost David Prowse, who played Darth Vader in the original trilogy, and we lost Jeremy Bulloch, who plays the original Boba Fett. So to me, it's sad, but it's kind of sweet that it's all around all of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it almost not glorifies, but it almost gives it extra meaning during this time, that it happened all at this time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolute. I mean, it kind of feels like, you know, I mean, their legacies were secured, you know? Yeah, but still, I mean, obviously they were iconic in their own rights, but you know,
right, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's just one of those things where it's like there's going to be generations more, or future generations that will be familiar and know these characters again, because it's so crazy. Because I remember the first time I felt as that I failed as a big brother was when episode 1 came out. And my little sister is 7 years younger than I am. And I was like excited because, you know, it's like a new Star Wars movie and it's been the first time in so long. And I was telling her, I'm like, they're going to tell us they're going to show us the origins of Darth Vader. And my little sister looked at me and she's like, who's Darth Vader? And I was just like, I'm a bad big brother. Like I failed her.
You were a bad brother. See, I had two good brothers. They brought me up on this stuff. So
listen, trust me, I took her to school after that. You know, she knows it. She'll never forget who Darth Vader, who Anakin Skywalker, none of it. Like, she knows all that now. But it's one of the things where I remember her saying it to me, and I was just like, whoa, how do you not know who Darth Vader is?
Larry let his sister get bullied too.
Get out.
Listen,
because you never taught her the way.
My little sister's way tougher than I am. She's never been bullied a day in her life. Way tougher than I am. In fact, I'm pretty sure she picked on me. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm reading comics. No.
She used to make fun of you for doing the show too. Yeah, I remember.
Oh, absolutely.
Turns out she didn't say who's Darth Vader. She just looked at him like, nerd.
Yeah, man. But it's just one of those things where I know for me, it blew my mind just because, you know, I thought of Darth Vader as this iconic figure, but until episode 1 came out, there had been such a gap in Star Wars that there was like a generation of people that didn't know who Darth Vader was in the same way that, you know, which, I mean, it's not even like my sister and I are a generation apart. We're literally 7 years, but she wasn't a part of that era. So, you know, and so it's really awesome. Like, you know, I can totally understand the people that are like, wow, this is like a lot of Star Wars that we're getting. And I'm not mad at that, because you're right. Like, you could potentially get too much of a good thing, or when you start getting too, like, a lot of stuff, you do tend to lose a little bit of quality control. So I totally get that. At the same time, you know, that ship has pretty much sailed, right? Like, like we're not going to get.
As long as it's good, you could do the Riddler thing to me, like on Batman Returns, and you can put that portal on my forehead, and I will suck it all up. I'm not kidding.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, oh damn it! See, like, what's the?
As long as it's not that Riddler thing, like it's not that Batman thing, like. Give me the Mad Hatter ring, from animated series. I'll do that, but not that.
You don't have the Riddler in your eyeballs like a.
We're not gonna get a worse Star Wars anything than Rise of Skywalker, probably. So we're good.
Stop it! Stop it!
You know what happened though, Lawrence? You said it in 2020. And it's gonna come back in like 2025. They're like, remember what you said in 2020? Yeah, the year came back to you.
You're right. I messed up. I should have waited till next week.
Right.
If I said in 2021, I would have been right.
I know. It's like, oh no, that's why they say hindsight's 2020. You're like, Jesus.
Now I'm just a bastard that jinxed it. Damn it.
Don't underestimate Kathleen Kennedy, man. She'll prove you wrong every time.
I'll tell you something. When you were talking about all the deaths, through the years of doing Comic-Con since the early 90s, a lot of times there'd be after parties, or sometimes there'd be one bar where everyone would go to this bar, and the collection of actors and people at the bar were hilarious. Like, I would just sit there and look at the people at the bar, like, you know, guys from Battlestar Galactica, and Peter Mayhew, and all these people at the bar, like Power Rangers, and it's like crazy ass collection of people. Lou Ferrigno. I remember down at we were at Philly back in I guess 2007, I think it was right now, and 2006, and I was down there with Jimmy Palmiotti, he drove me back home, and we were at the bar, and it was just a crazy collection of people. We said, "There's Lou Ferrigno drinking next to, I don't know, some Star Wars guy." It's like all those guys are dying off, you know, and it's sad, you know. It's sad. Like, you don't have to, especially like the older comic creators. Years ago, they said when you go to the Comic Cons, you see these older guys there. Go meet them.
Yeah.
Get something. I mean, now it's so expensive to get a drawing by them, but go get something by them, especially the old guys. I just was in they used my artwork in some article today at CBR about who died this year in comic, as far as in the comic books, and they used my Chadwick Boseman piece. He was the last guy, but they had all these comic creators in there who died this year, and it's a shame. Like, you know, all those guys are gone.
Yeah.
And stuff is so expensive now. Like, you can't even get a picture with somebody without, you know, being a couple $100.
Yeah.
Years ago, it would just be, you know, nothing.
Right. You're right.
Going along with what Dave Ryan's saying is, I have a lot of regrets from all the Comic Cons that I've ever been to, and walking down Artist Alley and not getting more art from young up and comers, because those same people you try to get now, and you're dropping a couple grand for just a little sketch. The same people that I remember, hey, I could have got him to do something for me for $100. So go down Artist Alley. You see somebody you like, you know, get something from them, because hey, they could go big. Even if they don't, you have a great piece of art that you can put on your wall.
Right.
And I was actually having a similar thought to what Dave is speaking to. Like, I found myself on the freeway thinking about, man, how am I going to eulogize Jim Steranko? Like, he's getting up there. Yeah, exactly. And I actually had an interaction with him that is kind of unique. I think Larry was with me, where I asked him for a picture, and he said no, but he said no in the classiest way. And I'm gonna save that for when he's dead, because that's really, cause it was just so awesome, and it just speaks to how awesome he is as a character in the comic convention culture. One of our friends actually got to just sit in his hotel room with him for like 4 hours and just talk to him. He just said, "Yeah, I'm going to my room. Just follow me if you want to keep talking to me." And he just went up with him. And then I tried to ask him for a picture. Totally different experience. Both awesome experiences that he didn't have it. That friend of ours, and then I didn't have his, but we both have just an awesome interaction with Jim Steranko. And it's like, man, that one's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
He every time I would see him, he would tell me that I needed to lose weight.
No
matter what I look like. And it's like Jim, I did bodybuilding when I was younger. It's like I'm not there. But I have the funny story about Steranko. I was with him at there was a dinner after one of the Comic-Con. It was Asbury Park Comic-Con. And so we're online to get food, and he's in front of me with some girlfriend of his who's got to be about younger than me. And she's from Jersey City, wound up being. And he was serving hummus, and he didn't know what it was. And he said, "What the hell is that?" And she goes, "I don't know. They say it's hummus. I don't know what the fuck that is." So I'm cracking up laughing. I was like, okay. So the next day I see him walking by my table. I said, "Hey, Jim, what the hell is that stuff hummus?" Fucking around with him. And he goes, "Yeah, And he goes right off with a non sequitur. He goes, "Yeah, when I was a little kid, I used to have this buddy, and he used to burn animals all the time. And then his father caught him, and he set him on fire. And he never did that again. All right, I got to go to my table." I'm like, what? And right next to me is Jim Salco, and he's like, "What did he just say?" I don't know what the fuck that had to do with hummus. I have no idea. Funniest like, used to burn, burn animals. I was like,
that's whoa-y. That's creepy, man.
That is wild. But I think that really kind of demonstrates Mo's point perfectly. Where it's just like every time you talk to this dude, it's an experience.
And he was doing. I didn't go to it, but he was doing panels that day, and they said that one panel, all he talked about is in his car. Nothing to do with comic books, just his car. Okay. But how many panels can you do? He's going to talk about the same thing over and over again 900 times. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I was saying about how many questions somebody gets asked over and over whenever I go to the cons, and I'm like, oh, it must get so frustrating.
A year, I just did I actually avoid panels at all costs. I will not. I did my first one at East Coast Comic Con. That was it. I refused to do panels.
Why do you refuse, Dave? I feel like you got knowledge.
It's like I don't. I'm there to make money at the con. I don't like.
That's fair.
I don't want to sit there and talk about some bullshit about stupid shit. I don't.
What did you eat for breakfast today? Do you brush your teeth? Or that one?
Yeah. That's my shit. That's like
some of the most amazing stories I've heard is just sitting next to Dave Ryan while he's drawing something for someone. He's just started going off. Oh yeah.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that.
I don't think we could say some of the stories on YouTube, but man,
instantly demonetized.
I believe they've been.
I know there's a story involved. There's a story that involves a kitty litter box that they've told me once that cracked the shit out of me, and and George Clooney stole your shit. Yeah, George Clooney stole your shit because I heard him tell the same story.
Oh, did he? Well,
yeah.
I did that as I have a whole book done called Bye Bipolar, which is all based on true stories, and I have that story drawn in.
Yeah,
they're all one-page stories.
Yeah. I saw the actual strip, the pencil drawn strip from Dave.
Oh yeah,
at Long Beach Comic Con, And he told me the story, and that was 10 years ago. And then I hear him talk. He's on Howard Stern, and he tells a similar story. It's not exactly the same, but the punchline's the same. And if you know that story, if you read By Bipolar, you'll know the punchline. I'm not going to spoil it. One day, maybe we'll do look, I'm already booking Dave Ryan to do story time with Dave Ryan and do some of those stories.
I don't want to tell a story here because I don't want Jessica throwing a drink at my face when the next time I see her to come.
Like, Dave.
but it bringing it back around, it is interesting. You were talking about like what. Going back to what you were saying, Dave, about the bar and like the bar at the conventions and all those people hanging around and it being like a motley crew, but basically like a geek culture kind of crew, and but it's interesting because it's like one thing about the people that were in Star Wars, like they all understood their cultural relevance, but at the same time, I feel like most of them understood, or I guess maybe the better way to say it is had a healthy appreciation for the fan base, and while they understood their cultural relevance, I don't know that they necessarily took themselves like super seriously in regards to those particular roles, and were willing to interact with the fan base and appreciated them for what they were. And it's interesting because you were saying like, a lot of those older people, they're dying out, which, I mean, there's only so many people from like the original Star Wars left, from like that original trilogy. And it's interesting to think like, of course now we have like people from the prequels, and then we got, of course, the most recent trilogy. And now we're getting people in some of these shows, and it'll be interesting to see what their, I guess, like how they interpret or end up becoming like the next generation of like the Star Wars figures that people see. Like obviously, fandom has changed since when Star Wars came out in the 70s. Like fandom is a whole different thing now than it was then, but also too, it's like the stars, like celebrity has changed, and so it'll be interesting to see like will there be a thing like obviously like Mark Hamill appreciates that people appreciate him as Luke Skywalker, and you can tell that, and it's evident. It's like, is that going to be the same kind of thing? Like, I don't know if, like, just, like, does Ewan McGregor feel that same way about being young Obi-Wan?
Well,
I don't know.
I'm interested. Maybe Jessica can answer this for me. Like, compare what Larry was saying about Star Trek to Star Wars actors and how they relate themselves as relevant to either fan base or a franchise.
I think I've actually interesting. What I've learned from you, Dave, is to never ask you to be on one of my panels. Since I moderate so many panels, I know that to find you at the bar instead and do impromptu panel that way. But
I think Jessica a lot.
So I was like, ooh. But something that, Dave, that you had brought up is you, from the experience that I've had, you observe, from what I've observed from talent when they're on panels on stage and how they are when they are at a bar to fan interactions. Obviously, I was thinking like Luke Skywalker was such a huge name. So some people didn't necessarily believe he was going to show up in the last episode. I mean, well, Disney can make you do anything. But however... Like you were saying, Lawrence, Mark Hamill at various conventions, at various panels, is someone who is truly very appreciative of where he stands in fandom and any career that he has had afterwards, whether playing the Joker, whether he was in other films. So I believe that he would have showed up on set. For example, if they asked him, he'd be like, fine. Also giving the blessing to a younger actor, Sebastian Stan, whoever else. So he doesn't seem... people, I think it's harder to speak for other actors. I don't know Harrison Ford personally or anything, so I can't tell. But he would be surprising, right, if he showed up for any reason, because you understand that their trajectory of their career is very different. But I think, like Dave was saying, franchises such as Power Rangers or Doctor Who or Star Trek, these are people who truly understand that fandom has given them their career and where they can be able to set up an autograph place in every single convention if they're invited to, if they are asked to come. So I meet very few that are ungrateful because maybe they just had so many bad experiences, or maybe it's a character issue, I'm not so sure. But most of them are quite thankful because they understand that for the most part fandom has kept them relevant and also gave them the careers that they have. And like Star Trek and Star Wars, like Dave was saying, even if you had a very minor role and you had a 6-second cameo, you are forever immortalized and remembered in that franchise, which also shows how powerful that franchise and how long lasting is, that you can still be able to go to convention and still set up a booth. And your line, you're still going to have really good quality of people, even if your line is not as long as, let's say, another actor. But the quality that comes, if they come to you and to get signed, that means they know who you are. Somehow they've memorized your 6-second cameo and bought that one toy, that was made of you. So I feel like there's really something interesting there because they show up on the panel, of course, and press, and then they show up again at the hotel bar because this is their chance to cut loose, but also interact with fandom on a much more personal level.
Yeah, we had,
and I think that's really important.
Yeah, we had some really obscure Star Wars guys show as guests at East Coast Comic Con, and they never go to cons. These guys, so we had these 4 or 5 guys. And people were all over them. Yeah, they were exactly. What I was really getting toward, and I probably should have said it before I asked you, was like the negative aspects of people like in the beginning, like where am I going? It's like William Shatner and Adam West, how it affected them negatively after the TV show, how they wanted nothing to do with it, sort of. Whereas Mark Hamill and the Star Wars guys, at least from my perspective, didn't approach it or didn't affect them like that. They embraced what they were going into.
It. Yeah.
It also depends because I know, Jar Jar Binks' character was so... I felt so bad, but the actor was amazing, and he went through so many struggles afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And it was really... So, I mean, his was like a sad exception. And as for Jake Lloyd and a few others, but I think we're hoping that for the most part, like you were saying, Dave, like they show up, and they know whether they're talents that played obscure characters, but were still extremely important, in many ways. Like, the actress that plays Ula, the slave girl for Jabba, she still gets to go and gets invited to various things. She's still remembered even though she was in so long, her scene was only for so long. And so I feel like, for her, but I could see, like you were saying, sometimes it's negative impact for some.
I think those guys they had the limited TV shows and they were looking for other actor gigs where they got pigeonholed into their one characters, so they got no other work, and that affected them negatively financially. So
yes,
I remember. I don't know if you saw that documentary on Adam West and how he couldn't get any work, and he was turning down, and he was in a parade, and then he started doing conventions, and he realized he could make money at conventions.
Yes, I think when there's a will, there's a way. So there's a way to. Not always make money, but at least be able to, if making money, that'd be great, that'd be a bonus, but also be able to be immortalized in a positive way, because when the talent behind Jar Jar Binks came out, I was like, look, I went through this, there was a whole depression, so it's like, a lot of people sympathized for him. A lot of people were like, look, we like you, the character was different. But you seem fine. You seem great.
Yeah.
We could be friends in a real life day.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think a lot of positive came from that. And it was good that was something that a little too late, but I felt like it was good that it happened. Better late than never. And I think that was something that he could cling on, and like use.
It's interesting too to see. It's interesting too to see how
I did say Star Trek, so she can't say Klingon.
Right. Like how, like Adam West started getting probably, or at least as far as I know, because Lord knows I was not around in the '60s or whatnot. But when Adam West leans, I know. After he started leaning into the whole Batman thing, he started getting like other roles, like almost like even like in things like how he is in Family Guy, right? Where he's
Mayor West,
right, playing himself.
Well,
a characterization of himself.
Nimoy is probably the best example of this, because there's at one point where he resented it so much that he wrote a book said, "I am not Spock."
Mm-hmm.
And then he did the same thing. He leaned into it, and he saw the fan support, and he started doing certain things where he ended up writing another book, said, "Okay, I am Spock."
Yeah.
You have the other side of that coin too, with like a George Takei, where he embraced it from early on. Like he saw Star Trek as something special. So anytime somebody asked him about it, like this is it. Like if this defines me, I'm happy with it. Whether it gave him money or not. And it kind of speaks to like what Jessica was talking about, where it's like you kind of have to double-edged sword, and you kind of got to get creative with it, where you can use it for you, whether it's monetarily or just in the zeitgeist, or there's always something. An example of the Jar Jar Binks, my niece is 2, and my sister showed her the Phantom Menace, showed her every. They got Disney Plus, every Star Wars movie on there, and she's 2. And when she saw Jar Jar Binks, for some reason, Jar Jar Binks and C-3PO, like she lit up, like at a 2-year-old girl, she barely speaks. Yeah. Like she just loved those 2 characters, and of course, Grogu. Grogu, she loved. We got her. I got her the pop doll. And she sleeps with it, and she's like, "Can we get a plush? Because that's really hard for her to And she doesn't like the plush; she likes the pop. Like she doesn't like Grogu plush, but yeah, it's Jar Jar, for all better or worse, had an impact, and in the creative, I'm sure Dave, you're a creative, like you got to make an impact, whether it's bad or good, like you can't go unnoticed. And Jar Jar did that. Yeah.
Jar Jar was also a lot of younger children's first experience. So while adults and teenagers saw him for the flaws, I would say, the younger, like 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, they could see him as like a character they could play with, be friends with, but also the fact that even though he was clumsy and he made a lot of really fatal mistakes, he was still kept around because he's a good person inside, and he was valued by Padme, and he was valued even in Clone Wars and the animation. He's valued by them. They keep. Yeah.
I always felt
the Sith Jar Jar.
Right.
I really wish Sith Jar Jar would have been amazing. But
I always thought that Jar Jar was supposed to be like the new C-3PO in 1, 2, and 3. And I thought that's what I thought they were going for, or George was going for the new generation. I personally did not mind him.
I didn't either.
I thought it was fine. I mean, I'm a clumsy person, so I kind of related to the poor guy, But I don't know. Like same with Rose. I have no problem with these characters.
I gotta stop you right there. Don't put Rose and Jar Jar Binks in the same category. Like,
I got a question. Hold on, Lawrence. Hold on, I got a question. Normie, do you know the Darth Jar Jar theory?
Well, we thought for a while he was supposed to be one of the Sith Lords, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So not so much C-3PO, but Yoda. Where look, when Yoda is introduced, he's that goofy, weird character, and then he ends up being this amazing badass. But let's not forget, every generation is gonna have the one character that that you either love this or hate this. It's Jar Jar for the prequels. The original series had the Ewoks. There's if you're a certain age, you hate the Ewoks when you first saw them.
Yeah,
but the younger generation loved them. They watched it animated afterwards.
I was gonna marry an Ewok. Okay, I told myself I'm gonna marry that Ewok when I saw Star Wars for the first time.
That just shows how young you are, Norman.
And the new trilogy is like porgs.
Yes.
So people they don't like the birds.
But porgs are like it doesn't matter what your opinion on porgs. Like they don't play a pivotal role. Like that's the whole thing. Like Jar Jar is everywhere. Jar Jar does everything.
Jar Jar has power to the Emperor.
And that's the same thing you can say about Ewoks, where it's like, okay, don't get me wrong, Ewoks were pivotal in the last movie, but not like pivotal in the sense like, okay, everything hinged on the Ewoks and what they did. They helped.
They kind of did on their woodworking skills and their Boy Scout nature.
Listen, it's like, but just going back to what you were saying, Oz, too, it's like literally, you're talking about when you're younger or whatever. Like, I literally have a stuffed animal named Wicket that is like, I've had Wicket since I was like a child, and I took Wicket to college and like put Wicket out, and people are like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Hey, don't worry about what that is. It's mine. That's what it is. Okay, it's mine. None
of your business.
Yeah, none of your business. Look, Wicket is within arm's reach. I could literally grab Wicket right now if you wanted to see Wicket, but I'm not going to do that because yeah, exactly. I'm trying not to get demonetized.
Nobody wants to see Wicket now.
I wanted to see. I mean, I have Teddy over here, but
And what was interesting to me?
Now he's grabbing his Wicket.
I don't have a stuffed animal near me.
You are so cute.
The only person I've known longer than Wicket is Jay. Wicket's older than my little sister.
But yeah. I'll be back.
You're all right.
Now we gotta go grab our things.
He's not as cute as Wicket, and he's definitely broken into pieces.
All right, let me go grab.
Here we go. Here we go.
You know what?
Here's Teddy.
Do pops
Teddy.
Oh, nice, Teddy.
Hello, there's my son too.
He's behind you. There's someone behind you.
Yeah, that's my son.
There's someone. Oh, okay.
Hello.
Is everyone reaching for things?
Everyone's reaching. Look at. Wait, is that Booster Gold and Blue Beetle?
Damn right.
What do you got, Blue Beetle?
Yeah,
you got Booster Gold.
I really wanted to Booster Gold for the King of the Blue Beetle.
Very nice, very nice. I have my favorite X-Men.
Which?
Oh, very nice.
And also from the Outer Spacemen.
Oh,
nice.
Ooh.
My grandfather bought me this whole set back in, I think it was the early 70s. These came out, the Outer Spacemen. So this guy is from Neptune. Go figure. He's about maybe $600-$700 as is. Just this.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, that must be a collector's item at this point.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But I mean, it, like me bringing up that whole thing was more so like, obviously the original.
At 35?
Say what? No.
You lost your virginity at 35?
Was like, obviously you have the original, like the cast.
You keep sucking us into the dark side, right?
The cast of the original Star Wars. That's hilarious. The cast of the original Star Wars that, came to like embrace like the cultural relevance of the characters they played in that. And it's like it almost feels like we're losing that a little bit with each generation of movies, because I almost feel like, I don't know if like the people that were in the prequels necessarily think of like the characters they played as cultural touchstones in any way, even though for some people they are. And the ones and it might just be a time thing, but at the same time, like I kind of fear, like, we're already at a point where some of the people in this latest trilogy are trying to distance themselves from the work. It feels like, where they're just like, I'm not about that anymore. You know, it's like you weren't even a part of it long enough to be about it. You know,
was anybody on here as surprised as I was that Hayden Christensen was so, like, people were so happy that he's coming back?
I was happy.
Look, there was a point when Hayden Christensen got a lot of hate, though.
He did, because his acting feels plastic in episode 1, 2, and 3. I'm not going to disagree with that, but after watching the movie so many times, it grows on you. At least for me, it grew on me. So it was now no longer his plasticity. It was embracing the whole story, right? And just taking myself out of that element. So to get him back is almost like a do-over. This is his chance, right? Hopefully with a little different direction, he might be able to really feel his character, and we can not have the plastic feeling.
I think people are enamored with him because they think he's in the Clone Wars. Like, they see that Anakin you see there is not Hayden Christensen, but you think Anakin coming back as Vader, it's like, oh yeah, I saw him in Clone Wars, and it's not him. I think Vader, David Prowse was a big, muscular dude, and I think that's kind of like, they didn't even announce things for the voice. They didn't announce the voice for Vader. Like, I would be excited if they picked the voice for Vader over Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader in these things. I don't have a problem with Christensen like that, and I also didn't have a problem with Jar Jar, but I also have the maturity of a toddler, so.
We were talking earlier about that show with Boston, which got canceled with the coronavirus, and they had a bunch of the Star Wars characters there, including Hayden Christensen was going to be there. So someone asked me if I could do a sketch cover of Hayden Christensen and bring it to the show so he could sign it. I'll show you. This is the cover I did of Hayden Christensen.
That's a dude. Dave, you are too talented, my guy.
That's talent.
Come on, man.
That is talent.
We did it.
That's very nice.
I prefer the burned version.
I like it.
Take a pencil and do that. Like, mine is a head, a little stick for a body, and 2 little arms. I mean, to me, it's just beautiful when people do that.
Listen,
I just can't.
He probably drew that sober. You should see him draw when he's drunk.
I actually have Dave's art all around my house. I have the Nick Fury. I don't think it's on camera right now. I got the Nick Fury over here that he did for me. Awesome. And then I have the Gene Simmons you see in the back is his. And then I also have this one always on my coffee table or whiskey table. And this is a cover for the Jack Kirby tribute comic.
Oh, look at that, man.
Yeah. That one's always, you gotta keep the king.
Did you see the video I was drawing that I got hired to draw the Joe Biden cover?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see it.
I did the cover for Tidal Wave. I did, yesterday, I didn't realize, I keep forgetting about it, but I must have like a gluten allergy. Because every time I eat like regular pasta, I feel like shit afterwards, and I forget about it. So yesterday we had tortellini, and I just felt horrific. Not nauseous, but my bloated, my head hurts. I came upstairs. I started inking the Joe Biden cover, and I fucked it up.
Oh,
yeah. And then I ripped it up. I got to redraw it. I'll redraw it tomorrow.
Oh my gosh!
What I did see was that Incredible Hulk you did, I think, yesterday.
Oh,
the Incredible Hulk white coat
too. Yeah. My mother used to say it all the time. She goes, "When you worry less about something, you do a much better job." But I think it's just how I feel. I mean, a lot of times most of the time I only have so much energy, artistic energy in a day, and that's a big problem. Like when I was younger, trying to do work on a whole book, you have to work no matter what every single day, the whole friggin' day, and I'm just not all about that. So, but that Hulk, I was like, oh, I have a little time. I'll just whip out this Hulk, but I made him heavy lighting. I don't know if anybody saw it. I can have it over here.
Well, he's getting that. Going back to our conversation about how people will react to these new generation. I remember Normie, one of your co-hosts, Tedekin, was there with us when I made an enemy because somebody wanted to hang out with Baby Fett, and I decided the group didn't want to do that. And Mortal Enemy for Life was made that night.
Oh
Hilarious.
no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you gotta ask Tedekin about that.
I'll have to ask about that.
Yeah, he'll tell you all.
I heard you said no to Baby Fett. Shame on you.
No, I said that.
Did.
Yeah.
You said no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tedekin was there.
It was the right call. It was the right call.
Again, the truth gets you crucified. Yeah.
There you have it. There you have it.
That is the truth. So this was the Hulk I did yesterday.
Oh man!
Oh my!
Wow.
That's incredible.
And see, and that's look, Dave. Like this is why you're my hero, buddy. And it's so funny because like I feel like the first time the Fantastic Forum got to hang out with you. Afterwards, after you had left, and we were all like, the next time we basically were talking amongst ourselves, we were just like, Dave Ryan is amazing because this fool is a fine artist that dedicates himself to comics. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you can draw whatever you want. Like, you have that kind of talent. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to that. Like, here's the thing. It's like, like comic books are not only are they an art form, but they're a uniquely American art form. And it's one of these things where it's just like, dude, like people don't give comic books the credit it deserves. And so generally speaking, there's some of us that do, but the fact is there are a lot of people that draw comics and they draw comics well, but they can only draw comics. It's like, you're not that guy. Like, you could literally draw whatever you want.
I paint. I do gallery shows. Yeah, I do. I do a lot of painting. So
yeah,
for me, the problem with comic books is I approach each panel as like painting or not a painting. When I say painting, I mean a piece of art in itself. So like I pour myself into that. What guys like draw the whole page and they just treat it as a job, and they just draw. Guys who can draw quick and pretty well, like Mark Bagley. I mean, he'll knock the book out in 2 seconds. But to him, it's a job. I'm not mocking Mark Bagley. I mean,
no.
I do like his stuff for what it is, but it's not. It's not like what's his name, LaRose's stuff that was gorgeous on Exo Man of War, but he's using Gary Marcos. This stuff is just phenomenal. Or Joe Bennett's Hulk, who's working on it now.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's stuff is just unbelievable. He's just unreal.
Yeah.
And I think there's really no comparison to the 90s. Well, I could say 90s, late 80s. Whereas John Byrne used to be the shit back then, and anything he did was phenomenal. George Perez was not that great back then. Dave Cockrum was great. Yeah, Perez was not that great. I think.
Wait, here's the thing, though. It's like, I feel like, Perez, of course, is like somebody that people hold in high regard. And it's like, anybody else that would say that, it's like, well, what did you draw? But when it's Dave Ryan, it's like, hey, if Dave don't think George is that great, guess what? George ain't that great, goddamn. George is a hack. You're right. Like, I can't argue. No, I'm joking. I'm not saying
Crisis on Infinite Earth was amazing. I thought that was amazing.
Dave, what do you think of Alex Ross art?
I do like, he's a talented dude, and I'm very much like him because I was painting just in the beginning, and in the beginning when I started doing comics, like Jimmy Palmiotti kept asking me to paint your books instead. But I like drawing the books, and painting for me is an overwhelming thing to do, and I can't see myself painting comic books, although I have here and there. Alex is a very talented illustrator, and he's a really good comic book artist. So, I like his stuff a lot. I think his stuff now is hard to. It's too colorful. There isn't enough sort of pop in his pieces. I think is maybe a Well, artists change over the years, so he became almost like a psychedelic poster. A lot of his stuff lately, like the New God. You can't even tell what's going on sometimes. Whereas the stuff from Marvels and Kingdom Come, I mean, that stuff is gorgeous.
Yeah, see. Look, we keep telling Jay. Like Jay was hoping he was like, he's like Perez, he's all right. No, Jay was hoping he was like, no, Alan Rock is good, Jay. See,
yeah,
yeah.
What do you think about a Greg Land?
Greg can draw. He just relies too heavily on photo references, and he reuses the same ones over and over and over again. But you look at some of the stuff he draws outside of photographs, and you can tell. I mean, he uses that same shot of Sue Storm.
Yeah.
No, I look just
That's
like
my
Sue
favorite.
Storm.
It's my favorite.
or like in the Fantastic Four book where they're like the undead, and in one panel it's Reed Richards, and in the next panel he just flipped it in Photoshop and used it as Doom. It was like,
yeah.
That is just, I mean, you can take a lot of times if I need photo reference, years ago you used to have to take photos, get them developed, and if it was wrong, you're like, oh fuck. But now you just take your phone. If you need a hand drawing, you take your picture of your hand. If you need a reference, a lot of stuff when I draw used to look like me a lot because I use myself as reference all the time. Or back in college, every week we had to draw a self-portrait. So as I'm drawing other things later in life, I had the same teacher for 3 semesters. So every single week I had to draw myself. So, when I'm drawing a character from scratch, it winds up looking like me a little bit too. So
that actually brings me to my next question. When you did this Nick Fury, did you use yourself as a reference? Because I feel you did, but you can clear that up.
I threw myself. Actually, I went on the roof and I threw myself off, and my wife took a photo of me going.
Oh wait, hold on. Hold it there, Mo. Hold it there. Bam. Is that Dave Ryan as Nick Fury?
That's how I see it. But maybe
that was a weird ass request, man. I've had weirder. I used to. I don't know if years ago, back in like '97 or so, I worked for Swank magazine for about 6-7 years.
Prestigious publication.
Yeah, I did some Photoshop work, and I did a bunch of illustrations for whatever crazy ass sex story was in those magazines. It was so bizarre, but you'd get some bizarre, fucked up shit. Yeah. And editors, editors back then would ask me, "Here, read this story." And I'm like, "I'm not reading the story. Just give me the title. I'm not reading this fucked up, crazy sex story." I said, "Just give me the title with the story and I'm drawing it. That's it." And they're like, "Okay."
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Is this the real reason why you don't want to be on panels? Because you're like, then I have the freedom to say whatever I want, and I'm not going to sit next to Alex Ross and Greg Horn or anyone. So I will put you all on the same thing.
Cash. It's just cash. I don't want.
No, I know. No, because for every hour you're not there, you're not making money at your table, especially if no one's watching. If no one's watching your table.
Back in I don't know what year it was. I was sitting at my table. My father was there and stuff, and Tucci came running by and he goes, "Come on, we have the panel right now." I go, "What panel?" He goes, "The panel's on War of the Independents and independent comic books." I go, "I'm not going to that panel." He goes, "It's about your book." I was like, "I'm not going."
I ain't going to that panel.
I'm not going. I was like, I'm making money right here. You can talk about. You want to talk about it? I don't think. Talk about your battle of independence. It's the same thing. I didn't go. I was like, I didn't go. I'm not going to that. I ain't going to that. Especially now, they got the panels down in the Madison Square Garden. You got to walk like 6 blocks down to the panel. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, not happening.
You could just put a sign on your artist alley and just be like, while I'm drawing or commissioning, ask me about my battles in independent publishing. And then you can tell them as you're making money.
I'm such a knuckle.
About my...
Yeah, do it. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I have never been to East Coast Comic Con because we just meet up friends up there. But how did I know did not know that the panels are Madison Square Garden? I could have just walked over there and.
Well, that's I'm talking about New York Comic Con. East Coast Comic Con.
Yeah. Okay, not in New York. That's what I meant to say.
East Coast is in basically the same room. Yeah.
Okay.
I did my first panel there. When was the last East Coast? Like 2 years ago. So I did my first panel there then, and I spoke about 90% of the time that everyone was up there. Yeah. You want to know how to break in comics, and I was looking at 3 other guys who were just indie guys who only did their own like fanzine books, and I was like, "What am I doing up here?"
That was it. You're done.
Yeah, well, I'm with Alex Simmons, so Alex Simmons does Blackjack and is a great writer, and so I can't say no to Alex. It's one of the few guys I can't say no to.
Nice.
That kind of brings up a point now that I have you guys here. I know the 3 other douches I've talked to, but you guys, how do you guys feel about 2020 and no Comic Cons? Like it sucks, right?
You miss the interaction with people. As much as I feel like people, I personally love it, but as much as people do complain, this year they weren't complaining. They missed it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you don't know what you have until it's gone. Mm-hmm. So you really have to appreciate it while it's there, and also kind of understand. I do miss them a lot, and I know a lot of them have moved to an online format because I've participated in some of them. It's still a great way to interact, and it's a great substitute, but I understand it's still not the same than doing it in person. And I feel really bad for like Artist Alley, Small Press. Those are the ones that really, this is more than just selling, it's also a great place to promote, and you really need certain larger conventions are meant for promotion, to be honest. So I do miss it. I do miss walking down Artist Alley and Small Press and everything. So
the people making some bang up money in Kickstarter and Indiegogo right now, though.
Wait, say that again, Dave?
So people are making some bang up money on Indiegogo and Kickstarter right now.
Gotcha.
Billy just did his 5th or 6th Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and he's over 120,000 already.
Wow.
Like, who needs conventions?
I used to be real selective about the Kickstarter stuff, and then this year, I just smoke a joint and get drunk and just start funding stuff. And
that is what he does.
Yeah, we have a video series on our channel here where it's just me unboxing stuff that I forget I got. Some of it's comics. I got this like weird camera stabilization system that the only reason I funded it is because somebody ripped off the design and tried selling it on Wish, and it became this huge thing. And then so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give this guy money because they're already trying to rip them off. It's got to be good. And I got it. Came in the mail yesterday. It's pretty good. I haven't used it, but it feels like it's good. So who knows? But I'm like, I forgot. I forgot I gave this guy $45.
That's like fast food boxes in the back of your car. I'm like, did I eat a burger? My wife saw me coming with this package. She's like, "Oh, what did you get me?" And I'm like, "I don't know yet." Like a couple of heavy metal albums, and it's ridiculous. I'm sorry, Norman. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm very social, so like Comic Cons or cons, like I love going to them in person. Like, there's just something more personal about being in the same room with people I want to meet and meeting other people who want to meet the same people. So for me, going to cons is really special. So, I understand that it's, easier maybe to just do it online or like video. But man, there's something beautiful about going to cons. I just love watching people and meeting them and interacting.
Yeah. And Normie, I think upon that also you were right. I think meeting them is different because you also get a better sense of who they are in person.
Yes.
Than what is said online or how they say things online. Obviously, if some things are very up front. Like I love
Right.
Nazis, right?
Cut
That's a
and
different
dry.
thing. Cut and dry. But if it's something else, right?
All right.
It's a little
the
bit
way I
different.
said it.
Yeah. It's the way-
Inflection counts.
Like, just some people are different. I know some people who seem one way online, and then they are very different in person.
Yes.
And you
do
get to
hope-
know them very different.
It sounds like Jessica went to Ethan Van Skeever's panel.
Woo.
Like I do hope that one of the things that does come out of 2020 is that, you know, people do understand or at least appreciate that you can do like the virtual side of things as well, and maybe that they'll like supplement the in-person like programming with online programming as well for people that can't make it out to conventions when we start having them again. And I definitely understand that, you know, it can't be everything, because obviously some things, you know, you want to keep like con exclusive or whatever. But, you know, I mean, I do feel like it would be nice if for the people that, for whatever reason, whether they don't have the funds to make it to a convention or whether it's too much of a burden to make it out to wherever the convention is, if people could experience that virtually as well, that would be a pretty cool thing. But I can't wait to get back into the convention scene. And I know that, you know, it probably is not going to happen until maybe the end of next year, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, because like, and that's me speaking from the privilege of being a Southern Californian, where we have like 3 solid conventions that happen at the end of the year. You know what I mean? So, you know, now I know every place doesn't have that. So, you know, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I hope it does happen, and I definitely want it. But more than anything, I want people to be safe. So, you know. But anyway,
they'll probably have Terrificon, which is in August.
You think so?
In Connecticut, yeah, I'm pretty. They probably will.
That makes sense. 'Cause, like,
Is
August,
that by the sorry, I was just
Mohegan.
gonna say Mohegan Sun. Yeah, okay. I've been there.
That's a really good
August-
show. Yeah.
August feels like the earliest you probably could have a con.
So
And
you
it-
guys
and
don't
it makes
think,
sense.
San Diego Comic Con this July, next July, whatever.
I don't look. I
don't
would
know.
be. I feel like
That's early, yeah.
I feel like July and Comic Con is like not only July of just like right on the cusp, but there's so many people that come to Comic Con.
I was throwing this out. I was throwing this out to Cliff Galbraith, who runs East Coast Comic Con. When you get your COVID shots, you get a card, and it says you had 1 shot and 2 shots. Then show the card when you're going in.
Yeah,
you gotta show your card. Yeah, I have my book shot. You know, and where you met. Yeah.
But here's the thing: is like the card can't just be like, you know, Baskin Robbins stamp card. It has to be like they have their government ID, or else people are gonna
Fabricate it.
fabricate it, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean, like a series of numbers tattooed on your forearm, Larry?
I was gonna say a tattoo.
No.
It could be like Minority Report, where it reads your eyeball. You know.
I'm just saying, it's like it can't just be like a little business card, because people will make that joint up and walk into Comic Con with COVID, and next thing you know, they're like the nerds to spread the flu.
Why don't we put a patch on our shirt right there, like some kind of like a little COVID patch?
That or you.
The inside of our lip.
The serum has like some kind of like magnets in your body, so you walk through like a detector, and it says COVID approved or whatever.
Like, that's a smoke. Like, I smoke way too much weed to be okay with that. You know, let's just wait a couple years for conventions. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Like Comic Con is too big. It's just that simple. Like same thing with like E3 or Anime Expo. Like the big conventions probably need to, like all those ones that usually happen in the summer, probably need to wait until 2022.
But
also,
comic book and
we're
sci-fi
talking about
show.
Booking too. Booking is the big thing. Like you
Right.
got to book
Do it
the whole
beforehand.
year long before you show. You can't just book. I mean, somebody like Mitch, who runs Terrificon, he has enough connections to be able to put it together that fast.
Mhm.
And I'm talking in questions. But near Comic Con, that's a big task, man.
Yeah.
so putting something like that together, it might be tough. Was it November this year? It's possible. I think they could possibly do it. If they do it, I'm on the fence. If I get the shots, I'll probably do it. I'm O negative, which is resistant against.
That's very rare.
Virus. Yeah, and I also had a little asthma, which it blocks the virus also. But that's another thing. It's like 15%. And if I get this shot and wear a mask, then I might go. But you get con crud all the time. I was sick. I get brutally sick.
Right.
Back in 2010, I did New York Comic Con, and I more than likely had pneumonia. But for 6 weeks I was in bed. No exaggerating.
Wow,
that was brutal. It was brutal, man. It was brutal. You know why? Because that's the year that I had the Kickstarter the year of War of the Independents come out, and people came from all over the place. Mm-hmm. I remember this girl came up to me, and she came from Lebanon, and she knew everything about my painting career.
Wow!
It was really odd. So, and she was, but then like, what if you're meeting somebody from there who's got a cold, then you meet somebody from like Ireland who's got the flu, then you meet somebody from wherever who's got something else, and then you're fucked. You have super flu, you're dead.
Right.
And but then like Nomi, I just stopped teaching. I've been teaching for years, and I would get sick all the time. But then I haven't been sick for like 7 or 8 years.
Well, I was about to say, look, if you become a teacher, your immune system is top notch.
Yeah, I was teaching all grades.
You get good.
I was teaching art all grades, and I would get some kid in kindergarten who had the flu, and then some kid in 6th grade who had a cold, and I would be out for like a week. But after a few years of doing that, I never
immune
got sick.
system. You're like the Man of Steel with immunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know every Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con specifically, I just have a real bad hangover. Like, it just happens.
I wonder why.
I can tell you a little story about that. We had Garib Sheamus threw a big wizard party.
Nice.
At this bar, and it was open bar, which was a bad move right there. So me and the magic artist, Rich Kane Ferguson, we got there like 7 o'clock. They opened at 7, so we were like, okay, we can get there at 7 o'clock, right? So we figured it'd be packed, but nobody was there till like 8:30. So it was a pool bar, so we're shooting pool, and the waitresses are only making money from tips from us. So we have like 5 or 6 Guinness each lined up at the bar. We're just
wow.
By the end of the night, we are so fucked up. We are hammered beyond belief. I don't remember leaving there or what the fuck happened. I woke up down by the docks on the lawn on the grass with a leaf blower guy woke me up.
He's like, can you move? I have to like blow these little leaves out of the way.
I was laying on the grass down by the docks, and I got up and I was like, oh, I walked into the convention. I still have my badge. I don't know. I wanted to steal that. And I walked in, and I remember walking past Jimmy by me at his table, and Jimmy goes, "Come here a second." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "You have grass in your hair." Like, I remember going, "You got to calm down. You got to chill the fuck out with the party."
That's hilarious. It's like you got grass in your hair.
And then years ago, but in the early 90s, in the early 90s, they had the New York Comic Con. It was like from 92 to 94, I think it was. And after I don't know where we were afterwards, but we were I had this Buick LeSabre, which was like a 72 Buick LeSabre, 1972 Buick LeSabre. This thing was a tank car. It was huge. You could fit like 10 people in that car too. It was so big. Like there was nothing in between your seats or anything. Everybody jammed in. And we all went to some parties, and then at the end of the night, we went to this. I don't know. It was like a speakeasy dive or something. It was somewhere in Midtown with train tracks, and we get in there, and it was Tucci was there, Joe Jusko, and a bunch of us, and we went in there, and I know everybody had guns.
Had guns?
Guns, and I was like, I remember turning to Billy. I was like, everybody's packing in here. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I was like, let's get out of here, right? So we left, and then as we were crossing the street to my car, the police raided the place.
Wow.
Good timing.
Yeah, so we got back to the con, and we're still drunk. We're not even hungover. And the con was just opening. And I walked up and I showed her my badge, and this woman goes, Dave Ryan. She goes, Dave Ryan's inside already. And I was like, what are you talking about? Well, this is me. Like, So my father said he was me, and he got into the convention back then. You didn't have to scan anything, right?
Oh no!
I get over to my table and I see him there, and I'm like, I sat down, and hardly anybody was in there at the time. And this one kid ran over to my table and goes, "Hey, can you draw me Wolverine fighting Juggernaut, but like on an island and all these things?" And I was like, "No." My father like smacked me in the back of the head. He's like, "Draw that fucking picture, bro."
Like, wait, did you have to draw Wolverine versus Juggernaut on the island, all that, or just one of them?
I'm not drawing any of that. I gotta have some coffee and get sober. It's hilarious. It's different with drink and draw. Drink and draw, you're drinking at the time.
Yeah, right.
9:30 in the morning. You haven't had a drink in like 4 or 5 hours. I'm all hungover. We're still drunk. I don't know. We probably had 6 packs in my car too.
Oh my God.
Hilarious. What was the deal with that place? You think that why was was it just like a gangster hangout?
Yeah,
it was after hours spot. Oh,
I've been to a few places like that in Manhattan where they have like fake doors in the back you walk through, and it's a whole different speakeasy. I see Jessica's going like, yes, I've been to that.
Jessica's like unpacking right now. Because she knows how Fantastic Forum gets down. She's like, I don't know if they're going to raid this.
I need to be careful.
StreamYard, right? Exactly. You're right. We're dangerous.
Yeah, they have a. It was like I remember there was a Russian tea room with my friend bartending in, and they had a whole secret door which went in the back, and it was a theater. And they were doing a play, but everyone was naked in the play. I was going like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, and I turned around and there was like 3 kids sitting there. I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here.
That's weird. That's a little odd.
Yeah, I was like, if the cops raid this place, I'm gonna get arrested for pedophilia. Get out of here. Fucked up Russians.
I was conventions too.
This is not the ballet I signed up for.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No way.
Oddly enough, that could be a little scene in Star Wars.
So
Padawan naked.
Look, I hate to do it, but it's about that time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask everyone to give us some final thoughts, and then it's gonna be time for us to get out of here. But before I do that, I want to definitely thank Dave, Normie, and Jessica for being a part of the show today. Thank you all. And in 2021, which is crazy that 2021 feels like some strange future time to me because I'm old. But in 2021, I definitely want to make sure that we get all of you on individually to come onto the show, and so we can experience each of you in your full glory, because you all are all awesome in your own rights. And so I just want to thank you again for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
You.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's an honor to be here.
All right. So, let's do some final thoughts. Oh, wait. Mo,
I'm not going to play music. Yeah.
That's okay. We'll add it in post. Look, okay. Normie, why don't you give me some final thoughts?
In general?
Yeah.
Understand. I can give you all kinds of thoughts.
Here's the thing, Normie. You can give me final thoughts. If you want to talk, if you have any final thoughts on The Mandalorian, you're more than welcome to share those. And also, I would ask you, if there's anything you want to promote or anything that you just want to say, like any nugget of wisdom you want to share with the people, give us some final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Be good to your fellow human being, right?
Right.
Just be cool. Be nice. That's all you have to do. If the powers that be are watching this, that does Star Wars, my friend Ed Sanchez, find him, have him direct you an episode. He's awesome. He was just doing Supernatural. Everybody else, continue watching Star Wars. Let's promote it. Let's love it. Disney's given us great content. My thoughts.
Amen.
And you guys are awesome, all of you.
No, yay. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's high praise coming from the normie.
Oh, thank you.
Jessica, why don't you give us some final thoughts?
Okay, let's make 2021 not 2020 part 2. Let's I want to wake up to January 1st and not December 32nd. And I was like, whew. I think there are so much lore to explore for that unintentionally rhymed for the Mandalorian. So, if you're sheltering safer at home, you want to be able to find more things to read or experience. There's great Star Wars comics, books, video games, so many things. Even if people say it's not canon anymore, it's still really great read or something to really absorb or play. And also, I am a co-host on the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. So we are on Facebook. We'll be running another we're going to give a giveaway for Gamera. Arrow's video did Gamera, the complete collection that's already sold out. And we will be doing a giveaway of it for free. It's going to be a free gift for someone. So we can start off 2020 right. 2021 right. See, already. And again, it's the same. We're on Facebook, the Kaiju Kingdom podcast. We are also on anywhere you can find podcasts. So Apple Podcasts, Panzer Crush, Amazon, basically all of the places that you can come and listen to us. We are also the kaijukingdompodcast.com. So you can listen to me and my co-host Chris just talk about kaijus all the time. And yeah, it'll be a fun time.
That's awesome. All right.
Check that out.
Yeah, I know, for real. Like what a great name too, Kaiju.
I know, I didn't even heard of that, Jessica. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I definitely got to talk about Zombie Cast.
Now I want to draw kaiju.
Real quick, drop it, Normie, drop it.
If you want to listen to me talk about whatever, you can find me on Zombie Cast. Yay!
Are there zombie kaijus?
I'm a zombie. Look at my eyes.
Zombie kaiju. Jeez, that sounds like the worst.
That sounds scary.
There it is.
It's terrible.
Give us some final thoughts, buddy.
This year has been terrible. This year's been actually pretty good, outside of everyone down.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
Hold on, this light's not on my face.
Interrogation light.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. No, we have quite a few books coming out. We got delayed, of course, from the death of everyone on the planet, but we still have the Worldwide Warriors coming out. Bunch of new covers and books coming out from Tidal Wave. So we did a bunch of covers for those guys. And that's about it. I have no podcast, so yeah, that's it.
Are you open for commissions right now, or are you just busy?
For what?
For commissions.
Oh, I have a couple. I just got one from some guy who I know, who wants me to do his dad who passed away on a bench with Deadpool. I don't know, whatever. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I do. I do some. I do some.
I love Dave.
I was like trying to buy something, and he's all like getting all sad.
Yeah. I do have some. I do have a bunch of sketch covers which I haven't sold yet. I don't put them up. I have done them. They're mostly on my Facebook page. Some of them, like those Star Wars ones. I haven't put them up. So I should have about 500 of them by the next time the next convention. Yeah. Usually I just do a piece and then I sell it. I don't.
Yeah.
I do commissions, but it winds up being something fucked up like Moses asked me to do.
Look, the thing's amazing.
Fury falling, his arms back and legs back from playing. Yeah.
He posted on Facebook. He goes, "Give me the most interesting idea, and I'll draw it for you." And
Well,
I just
I remember that time. That was to challenge myself. I said, "Give me whatever character you want, doing whatever you want.
Right.
Nothing sexual, but doing whatever you want."
Yeah.
So Moses was like the first one. Was like Nick Fury falling. Just like falling. He's like, yeah, like falling from a plane, falling.
Because, especially in those old Franco comics, he was always jumping off of something or leaping into something, but he never like tripped off a helicarrier or something. And it's like, what is just free falling? Like in mid fall.
Yeah, I got like She-Hulk boxing.
Nice.
Just a couple other weird ones, but it's always good to push yourself.
Yeah.
To make yourself uncomfortable, to make yourself grow a little further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was too intense. Sorry.
No, not at all, man. That's great advice. Jay, give us some final thoughts, buddy.
So if you're done watching The Mandalorian and you want to animate a parrot with, try Trigun, a space western about a guy, a super skilled gunfighter who hates to kill. It's pretty funny, really good. If you enjoyed The Mandalorian, you should enjoy that.
All right. Oscore, final thoughts, buddy.
I had the distinct honor, pleasure, whatever, of watching Monster Hunter in movie theaters this weekend. Very.
What is this movie theater you speak of?
Oh, no, he's sick. He's sick.
Oh no, he's
Where's the
gone
chat?
already.
I can't wait for in the next couple of days Wonder Woman. Yeah, so get out there, support your local movie theater.
You suck. Your movies are still open. Mine have closed. I would be out there. I was out there.
I had to cross state lines, but yeah, I crossed into Iowa.
I would be willing to cross state lines.
You know, when you get popcorn, you have to pay for the COVID, like the butter.
No, I was actually upset that I couldn't get nachos because I got some pretzel bite things and like the cheese is packaged. I remember the nachos, the chips are in their own package. Why can't you just give me 2 packages and let me open them and enjoy them? I don't know. Sorry.
I mean,
That's a regular Seinfeld routine right there.
You could just use your finger on the cheese and pretend your finger is the.
I woke up with my wife punched me in the face.
Oh my god. Moses Magnum, please give us some final thoughts.
Well, I want to thank our guests. They're people that we've talked to and or hung out with at conventions, and that's kind of the feel I wanted for this Mandalorian talk, and you guys didn't disappoint. I want to thank you for being here. Absolutely. And I also want to thank the good people at the United States Postal Service. They made promises to me in this time where I need them to do a little bit of business, and they came through. And they've gone through a lot, and I can go on a whole diatribe on how they could be fixed, but they came through for me. They literally told me, "I got you, bro." And yeah, everybody got everything they needed, and I can pay the rent for the barbershop. So here we are. Thank you.
There it is. For the entire Fantastic Forum, thank you all for hanging out with us. We do appreciate you. If you did like the show, please go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, or whatever else it is you do on all these different social media platforms. Just whatever it is, do it for us because we appreciate you. Yeah, we'll be back. Yeah, I guess we will be back next week, won't we?
Unless we're going on holiday break.
Yeah, it might like I feel like this year we've done like a show just about every week this year.
I mean, if you want to, I can tell you exactly the number of shows we did this year. If you want to wait a little bit.
I mean, I'll wait
next week for your Wonder Woman 1984 special.
Oh, you're right, because Wonder Woman does come out on Christmas. Jesus,
I know you hate women, but yeah, whatever. We'll get through it.
Listen, all the women know that I don't hate them. all the women,
All of them.
all of them. They
All
can
of them.
feel it. I mean, in a very respectful way. Not in a disrespectful way. Anyway,
If
for
you
the
guys
entire-
see
We've done 108. We've done 108 shows this year, Larry.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
way above our. Yeah, we exceeded our contract. Technically, we don't have to work next year.
Oh, right, because we did like daily shows for a little bit. I forgot. I was like
Daily
108.
shows, yeah,
I'm like,
for like
that's
6
way
months.
more than
daily
52. I was like, what in the hell? How do we do that? But okay, I got it. Yeah, I forgot that. Anyway, thank you all for supporting us. And I mean, I guess like if I'm not mistaken, wait, the next show is in 2021 or is it the last show of
No,
20?
it's
No.
just shy.
January 1st is Friday.
Got it. Okay. So you know what? Yeah, we're gonna come back because it'll be a good year-end show, and we'll get to talk about Wonder Woman. But for just thank you all for supporting us. We do appreciate you. Thanks again to all of our guests today. You all are so amazing, and like I said, we definitely want to have each of you back on in 2021. So let's make sure that we do that. This is Fantastic Forum. We'll be back next week. Until then, be good to yourself and be good to each other. Thanks a lot.